The supermarket was loud in the way ordinary places always were. Shopping carts rattling, scanners beeping, children whining for candy. To anyone watching, it looked like just another busy afternoon. Families moved through the aisles without a second thought. Except for one little girl. She couldn't have been more than 7. She walked beside an adult man, her small fingers wrapped tightly around the strap of her backpack. Her eyes stayed low, never lingering on the bright cereal boxes or colorful toys at the end of the aisle. There was no curiosity in her gaze, only fear, carefully hidden. Every few steps she glanced around as if searching for something, or someone. Near the dairy section stood Officer Daniel Reeves, off duty but still in uniform, picking up groceries on his way home. He was half focused on his list when he noticed the girl. It wasn't just her tense posture. It was the way she moved, stiff and controlled, like she was afraid to make a wrong step. Then she did something that made his heart skip. As she pretended to scratch her head, the girl slowly raised her hand. Her palm faced outward, one finger folded down, then another, until her thumb tucked in last. A signal. Daniel's training kicked in instantly. He had seen videos, attended briefings, practiced recognizing it. The silent rescue signal taught to children in danger. A plea for help when words could cost them everything. The officer's grip tightened around the milk carton in his hand. He watched carefully. The man beside the girl didn't notice or pretended not to. He grabbed a box from the shelf, impatient, his jaw clenched. The girl's shoulders flinched at the movement. Daniel's pulse quickened. He didn't rush, he didn't stare, he knew better. Instead, he casually pushed his cart forward, angling himself into the next aisle, keeping them in sight through the gaps between shelves. His mind raced through possibilities: custody dispute, trafficking, abduction. He couldn't assume, but he couldn't ignore it either. The girl glanced back again just for a second. Their eyes met. In that fleeting moment, Daniel saw it clearly. Not confusion, not mischief. Fear. He turned his cart smoothly and followed at a distance, his attention locked on the small figure ahead. Somewhere between the bread aisle and the frozen foods, an ordinary grocery run had turned into something else entirely. And the little girl had no idea how close help now was. Daniel kept his pace slow, measured. Years on the force had taught him that rushing in without proof could do more harm than good. He stayed one aisle behind, pretending to compare prices, his reflection occasionally catching sight of them in the freezer doors. The man leaned close to the girl and muttered something Daniel couldn't hear. Her shoulders tensed immediately. She nodded without looking up, the way children do when they've learned that obedience is safer than questions. Daniel felt a tight knot form in his chest. He pulled his phone from his pocket and sent a quiet message to dispatch, keeping his voice low as he passed near the bakery. Possible child in distress. Supermarket on Maple and 8th. I'm observing. Will update. He didn't break eye contact for long. The girl and the man stopped near the checkout lanes. The girl shifted her weight from foot to foot, eyes darting again, left, right, until she spotted Daniel in the reflection of a candy rack. This time, her hand twitched at her side, like she wanted to repeat the signal but was afraid to be seen. Daniel gave the smallest nod. Not enough for the man to notice, just enough for her. She swallowed and looked down, but something changed. The fear was still there, but now beneath it was a fragile spark of hope. The man paid quickly, his movements sharp, impatient. He grabbed the receipt and tightened his grip on the girl's wrist as they headed for the exit. Too tight. Daniel saw her wince. That was enough. Daniel abandoned his cart and moved toward the doors, positioning himself just outside near a stack of flyers. He slipped his badge fully into view and rested one hand near his radio. The automatic door slid open. Cold air rushed in. The parking lot stretched wide and exposed, cars moving in and out. The man scanned the area, suddenly alert, as if sensing something had shifted. The girl hesitated. Her fingers loosened slightly from the backpack strap, and for the briefest second, she took a half step toward Daniel instead of following the man. Daniel stepped forward. "Hey there," he said calmly, voice steady, friendly. "Mind if I talk to you both for a moment?" The man froze. The girl's eyes filled with tears, not of fear this time, but relief. The man's hand tightened instinctively around the girl's wrist. "We're in a hurry," he said, his voice sharp, eyes flicking to Daniel's badge and then to the parking lot. She's my niece. Daniel didn't raise his voice. He didn't step closer yet. I understand, he replied evenly. I just need to ask the young lady a quick question. The man's jaw clenched. She doesn't need to talk to anyone. That was all Daniel needed to hear. He shifted slightly, placing his body between the man and the girl. Not aggressively, just enough. Actually, he said, calm but firm, she does. Daniel crouched to the girl's level, keeping his movement slow. Sweetheart, he said gently, are you safe right now? The girl's lip trembled. She looked at the man, then back at Daniel. Her breathing quickened as if years of silence were pressing against her chest. Then she shook her head. No, she whispered. The word landed like a weight. In one smooth motion, Daniel stood and spoke into his radio. I need backup at the Maple Street Market now. The man stepped back abruptly. This is a misunderstanding, he snapped. She's confused. The girl finally pulled her hand free and rushed behind Daniel, gripping the back of his jacket like it was the only solid thing left in the world. Her small fingers shook, but she didn't let go. Within seconds, the wail of sirens cut through the air. 2 patrol cars rolled into the parking lot, lights flashing red and blue. Shoppers slowed, watching in stunned silence. The man's confidence crumbled. He took a step back, then another, until another officer blocked his path. Sir, the backup officer said firmly, hands where we can see them. As the man was restrained, the girl collapsed onto the curb, sobbing. Daniel knelt beside her, draping his jacket around her shoulders. You did the right thing, he said softly. You were very brave. She looked up at him through tears. I practiced that signal every night, she whispered. I hoped someone would know. Daniel felt his throat tighten. Someone had known. And because of one small hand and a silent signal, a little girl was finally safe.